when we're ready. Welcome to this season of Cab Conversations. We've taken on a little bit different form this year, and today we're joined by 3 farmers throughout the United States. We will talk with Cannon Michael, who's located in California, Jay Hill in New Mexico, and Adam Kastner in Missouri. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Today we're going to talk a lot about water issues, and because we're in such a diverse area, it gives us an opportunity to pick brains from farmers that are battling different and struggling with different issues in water. Cannon, California has been in the news a lot. Let's talk a little bit about some of the things that what is going on your farm in California and some of the issues that are being brought up in your state.
Yeah, well, I'm sure everybody's seen we've been in a drought now for 4 years now. It's been made worse by a lot of pretty bad environmental policies that are going on. We've got about a third of our farm is fallowed this year, or we've abandoned acres of wheat and other crops. So obviously impact, we're actually probably a farm that's in better shape than a lot of other ones. There's some that are even in a lot worse shape. So, obviously laying off a lot of guys, a lot less work for our folks to do contracting work for us. A lot less products are going to be produced. So, we're not going to buy the fertilizer, the seed, the fuel, the tires, the tractors, all the things that our communities here locally depend upon. And then a lot of California products are processed here and then sent other places. So none of that activity will happen. So it's going to be, a lot of unhappy folks out here right now, and it's unfortunate because some of it seems like it could have been handled a little bit better if the system here had a little more flexibility to move things around. But we pretty much lost all the flexibility that we have, and pretty bad situation for us out here.
Talk to me a little bit about your operation, what you grow, and some of the things that you produce there.
Yeah, so we've transitioned in the last few years to be pretty heavy into processing tomatoes, fresh market tomatoes, melons such as cantaloupe, personal watermelons. We've grown corn for the Corn Nuts Company this year, the snack corn, onions, carrots. We still grow some extra long staple cotton. Our alfalfa acreage has gone down to the lowest it's ever been, so we didn't plant any new alfalfa this year. And we took out our wheat crop early because of water issues. So pretty diverse row crop, mostly annual crops. We have a small number of almond trees also, but it's just a very small percentage of our operation.
Jay, let's move to you in New Mexico. Talk to me a little bit about your operation and maybe some of the water issues and water challenges that you face because of your location.
Go ahead and stop for a second. Can you hear me fine?
I can, yep.
We live at a farm down in southern New Mexico. We're south central located, and we farm about 750 acres. A lot like Cannon, we're diverse. We grow onions and lettuce. We grow corn, some cabbage, both romaine and iceberg lettuce. One of our main crops is onions. We also do red and green chili, and then a small acreage of pecans. Where we're at here in southern New Mexico, we've been in a drought. This is our 17th year officially of being in drought, and right now we're facing a couple different issues between Texas water users and New Mexico water users in the lower Rio Grande region. So with the pressure not only from the government standpoint, but as far as Mother Nature is concerned, it's pushed us to find new and innovative ways to take care of what water we do have. And in doing so, we've been implementing subsurface drip, minimizing some of our cover crops, making sure what we are putting cover crops on is for vegetable production. And that's where we're standing right now.
Thanks, Jay. Adam, you're located in Missouri, and as you hear from farmers that are struggling with water issues, talk to me a little bit about what you can take from that and about your operation in Missouri.
our operation here in Missouri is mainly is corn and bean rotation. We have a little bit of wheat out this year. I'm kind of the oddball in this conversation. If we have water issues, it's because we have too much water. We went through the drought in 2012, and in 2011 we were in drought conditions. It wasn't very severe, but we were suffering from drought conditions, but yet alone we fought floodwaters all summer long. We spent about 2 months through June and July with water at the top of our levees, even running over our levees in some instances. That was, like I said, we were dry here, but they had, I think, 10 inches of rain overnight up in Montana and the Dakotas. It all came down the Missouri River. And essentially what had happened to us is the Corps engineers had the dams too full for spring rise, for trying to, they run spring rises for pallid sturgeons habitat, and so they had too much water in there and didn't have any room for that water to go, so we got water ran down our throat at the top of our levees all summer. We ended up with Missouri National Guard setting sandbags along our levees with Black Hawk helicopters trying to keep our levees from blowing out. Years like that, we're far from the problems these other guys discussed.
As you guys talk to one another and talk to other farmers throughout the U.S., how do you utilize the information that maybe Cannon is looking at different technologies and be able to utilize something like that in Missouri?
I guess one thing I'd take from it is, they're being forced to, they have to deal with these issues right now. They're going to learn a lot from the issue, and other parts of the country will be able to learn from them. They're kind of at the forefront right now of it. There'll be probably down the line, there'll be some other states come up with issues with water. We'll be able to turn to guys like Cannon and Jay that have been experiencing this and use their technologies they've came up with to better utilize what they have on their farm.
Jay and Cannon, what can agriculture take from you guys and the struggles that you guys have had with water issues? 17 years of drought, 6 years of drought, and water utilization technologies.
Yeah, I think from my standpoint, I think one of the things that's been a little bit disappointing is to see a lot of I haven't seen as much of it for the New Mexico folks, but I'd be interested to hear what Jay thinks about it. But out here, we've just been seeing a lot of negative press about farmers and about what we do. And our farm uses a lot of technology, do a lot of different things. But it's just been disappointing to me to see how many people don't seem to realize that what they eat and what they wear, all those things are produced with water. And the lack of respect for farmers, really has been kind of disheartening. I don't know if that's just a California thing, or I would recommend to anybody in agriculture to try to figure out how to tell your story more, how to interact with people more, let them know that it's not a store where their food comes from. It's somebody actually doing a lot of hard work. You can see the two guys I'm doing this conversation with are doing hard work out there right now. So I don't know. We can shift production to somewhere else, to another country or whatever, but what are you giving up if you do that? And I find it real frustrating to have a lot of folks in these big urban areas like Los Angeles and San Francisco criticizing farmers and kind of downplaying how important it is that people have safe food and food that's produced with ethical standards and worker safety and all those types of things. So anyway, it's been a frustrating experience for me. Definitely a hard time seeing all the press that's been out there in a negative way about how we use our water and those types of things. So anyway, I don't know that that's very helpful as far as technology, but we use a lot of drip irrigation or a lot of GPS and all the different high tech stuff we can do, and run as efficient an operation as we can. Every resource that we have, we use it to the utmost that we can. So it is frustrating to see a lot of false information out there.
Jay, and in your role with the USFRA, it kind of gives you a consumer-facing opportunity to talk about what you do and the technology. Can you talk a little bit about how you're able to utilize your voice and educate consumers about what farmers like you and Cannon and Adam do on a daily basis?
You know, it's amazing to see what people, when you ask somebody that lives in an urban environment to paint a picture of what they think a modern day farmer looks like, what you see is the guy still in his overalls with a pitchfork, standing in his front yard. And one thing people fail to notice is the amount of technology that is necessary for us to do our jobs. In today's world. One of the neat things is I heard a statistic the other day that an average farmer today uses more technology and more bioscience and biochemistry than most college professors do in 3 months. And showing an image that we are evolving with the times and we're doing what is necessary to take care of the natural resources that we do have and we don't have. Just a lot like Cannon said, there is a big negative picture painted, and we do feel that pressure here in southern New Mexico, be it through environmental groups or just people that are uneducated and uninformed with what the current climate is under, what the kind of pressures that we're going through on a day-to-day basis. I think that I feel that with USFRA, it's giving me the opportunity to show people, this is where your bloomin' onion comes from, or this is where we grow the pecans for your pumpkin pie, or your pecan pie, excuse me, and things like that. And being able to engage people on a day-to-day basis through social networking and things like that, it's starting to open some doors. One thing that I preach is that as farmers, we have to be transparent, and it doesn't matter what size of operation we have. People want to know, where their food comes from and if it's healthy and grown responsibly. And USFRA is one of those avenues that lets us, convey the message of the American farmer. Cannon hit a great point where he said, if there's such a negative stigma on farmers now, they can go to other countries and get what they need, but people won't understand, how it was grown, how it was produced, what was used on that to produce it. And so it's hard as a producer these days to make sure that we show the American public that they are getting not only healthy and safe food, but great quality.
Those are the questions that I have for you guys, but we also like to give you the opportunity to ask questions to each other about their operations or things that maybe you're curious about. How Adam does something in Missouri compared to what you guys do on the west portion of the west part of the country. So let me give you the chance to do that. What questions do you have for each other?
How the soybeans looking, Adam?
We haven't even got the soybeans yet. We're just trying to finish up corn right now. Hopefully we're supposed to get some rain this weekend. Hopefully by this weekend we'll be done with corn, and after the rain, hopefully we can be switched over and planting beans.
Okay.
Adam, when you guys are at flood stage and you've got corn and beans in the field, do you guys use a diversion? How do you keep that water off your fields? Is there a place to send it?
No, not really. There's levees on both sides of the river. Unless there's a high bluff available, then we'll use that for protection. But other than that, there's no other diversion for it. Our levees are our last line of defense for us. So once we lose the levee or it starts overtopping a levee, where I'm located right here is we're actually in like a bowl, and the levee makes us a bowl, and so whenever the levee breaks and we flood, we have to end up cutting the levee on the downstream side to let all the water back out. Once we lose the levee, we're toast.
What are some of the ways to avoid having that much water? Does that strictly on you're on the government on how much they're releasing, or is there something else?
That's the issue we ran into in 2011. Was mainly the Corps was really, or had too much water in the reservoirs. upstream of us. Now, usually our flood events are just having a huge rain at Omaha, or somewhere Iowa City, somewhere up in there, that anywhere that dumps into Missouri River, they get a big rainfall, for overnight, or a couple days of rain is where we get in trouble. There's Kansas City's right upstream of us, and they put tons and tons of acres under pavement every year, and that pavement, all these cities putting pavement out, water sheds off so much faster and comes down on us so much quicker now. So that's that's a lot of our issue, but there's our main problem is like the Fish and Wildlife and these environmental groups have gotten a hold of our congressmen. The Congress writes the Corps' master manual, and they have to do whatever the master manual says. And these environmental groups are Fish and Wildlife groups like that have been shoving money in Congress pockets to push their agendas, and we can't even use our river for navigation anymore. We can't send grain up and down with barges because it's getting too shallow in places, because they're trying to shallow the river back up for fish and wildlife. So we've got to somehow figure out a way to get our river back and control it for flood control and navigation. Government put a ton of time and money into channelizing the river and installing these dams for flood control, and now we're just using it for play and recreation.
Any other questions?
Adam, what's your forecast say? What is the general consensus? Because our markets in New Mexico or Canada, our markets are based off of what happens in California, especially with lettuce and cabbage and things of that nature. And so we hear the horror stories that there's not going to be enough lettuce, or onion crops down and things of that nature. But what's the forecast? Are you guys gonna? If this drought continues, what are you going to give up, and what are you going to keep into?
Yeah, for us, I know all the guys, a lot of guys south of us who've got a lot of the permanent crops like the trees, they've abandoned all the row crop ground that they have, because they're trying to put every drop of water they have onto their trees. So I know we've got a lot of guys coming up here. Lettuce doesn't work in our area, but I know other guys are looking at lettuce because that acreage is trying to move to areas that have water. But the drought being so bad for another year, there's only so many options for guys. So it's crops are just shifting. Whatever can be the most profitable is what's being grown, and guys are just abandoning what they can't grow. So as that market shifts around, guys are trying to do what they can. But yeah, I think that a lot of the vegetable market is it's, at least the acreage is going down here pretty quick, and guys are just, like I said, trying to protect their trees. Where we are, we can't really grow a whole lot of trees. We're mostly row crop guys, and that's why we're seeing the carrots guys are coming to us, and dehydrated onion guys and other guys are coming this way now because they're getting pushed out other places. So we're always going to be mostly a row crop area and try to grow, but a lot of the traditional lettuce growing, a lot of the stuff isn't going to grow as well as it did on some of those lands where they first farmed it. So, it's going to be it's a transition time here as guys are just trying to figure out what to go to and what they can still make money at. We know we can do pretty well with the processing tomatoes, so we grow a lot of tomatoes here. But you still need to rotate, and you still need all those other things. So, I think that all the vegetable markets, I can't see them. With California producing so much of it. I know there's going to be impacts long term. A lot of guys are relying on well water too, and the well water is not that good quality, and it's going to have effects on their ground long term because it's the quality issue is going to take a long time to kind of fix that. So I would think that the vegetables market's going to stay pretty strong because of California have so many widespread issues.
What is your average rainfall, Cannon, Jay, and Adam? We'll start with Cannon.
I think 8 to 10 inches.
Jay?
Ours is last year was I think we had 9 inches, but our average was 13. The last 17 years, though, it's kind of thrown our average off. They say 13, but I think we're somewhere around 9 now.
And Adam?
I'm not exactly sure, but it's somewhere around 40 inches, 40 to 42 inches, I think. I think that's what we had last year.
I would drown.
Yeah, damn, Adam, share, buddy.
I'm trying, man. I wish we could.
We always laugh about when they were talking about putting that Keystone pipeline in. We said, well, they need to do another one and just start pumping your water west.
Well, you saw Captain Kirk had the idea to, William Shatner had the idea to do a pipeline from Seattle or something. He floated out there. He got blasted by Dennis Miller and Bill O'Reilly, but it was pretty funny.
Somebody had started, they were wanting to dig a canal from the Missouri River through Kansas somewhere, heading it down south to you all, and that got blasted pretty hard up here. That it wouldn't be financially feasible to do that.
No.
What elevations are you guys farming at?
80.
I think we're right around 700 feet.
That's what we looked at when they said the pipeline. We're 4,300 feet where we are.
Oh,
that'd take a heck of a pump to get water up this high.
Yeah. That'd be a pretty good lift.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Anything else?
No, good luck, guys.
I guess.
Same to you guys. Good luck to you.
One thing I'd add, a topic that Jay and Cannon both touched on was, kind of the image that the public is getting of the farmers. Our disconnect is getting huge. It doesn't matter if me fighting too much water, you guys fighting not enough water. Farmer, rancher, we're all in the same boat. And we got to get together and preach our story and bring our city cousins back to what goes on out here on the farm, and showing that us being wasteful is costing us money, and that's not something we want to do. We're being best stewards we can of our resources.
Yeah, I was shocked. I had some family members who got in some conversations. They live in the Bay Area, and they were being told farming shouldn't happen in California, and it was they're wasting the water and all this stuff, and really made me realize, because it was my sister actually, and she told me she didn't feel comfortable on how to, because she wasn't raised down here on the farm. She's always lived in the city, and she told me that she wasn't real comfortable how to defend it. And so I realized in that instance, you sometimes got to educate the people. Like maybe you went to college with some folks or something that were still live in an urban setting, or if you have family that are still in an urban setting, you got to start even with them and arm them with some facts and give them some information, because it's going to take everybody to have at least a way to talk intelligently about agriculture. And I think that we all can talk to each other and tell each other the stories about it, but I think start with the people that even just write an email or a letter or something that just explains the situation and some of your thoughts about it, and let that get shared around a little bit, or share it on Facebook or something. But I mean, it's got to be like a grassroots deal. I mean, we can rely on some of our industry organizations to try to help them do it, but I mean, at the end of the day, people want to hear from the farmer themselves. We could tell a lot better story than some guy in a suit or who's paid to tell the story. So you just have to find ways to get it out there. But it just made me realize that no person, even if people you think should know the story, maybe they don't. So I mean, I took some time to write some letters to my family and emails and try to give them some information that if they got in a situation that they'd be able to be an advocate. So I think we got to make all these people our advocates.
Yeah, there's still just a huge disconnect between the farm and the consumer, and it's amazing. I mean, we're consumers too, but I mean, you take me and drop me in Adam's world, and I have no clue on what's going on. I mean, I've never actually walked into a soybean field in my life, and so when I hear about different things going on, it's easy to say, well, why in the world would you do that? But I have no experience, and I don't know anything about it, and so people like Adam that are I commend both of you guys too for getting on here and at least sharing your story a little bit about what's going on. And if we get more people, more growers like us, I think it will make a positive impact in the ag community.
Yeah.
We have 8 weeks and 12 different growers to share stories, and we appreciate you guys for kicking us off, and we will check back in with you in a month.
Great.
Gentlemen,
Thanks.
be safe.
Yeah, take care, guys.
Good luck, guys.
See ya.
All right.
See you, Megan.
Bye, Adam. Bye, guys.